But notes taken. Thanks for sharing this feedback. Yeah, that's a fair one. Craig, not that smart, 3 stars.
Okay, so this is handy if you have it filled up and want to have it boiled before you go into the kitchen. But there are some drawbacks, as this kettle isn't as smart as my last kettle. What?
Last kettle. So let's see. I'm used to variable temperature and keep warm features, so if you aren't, they are great to have. But there are hundreds of other kettles, so it doesn't make this one smart. This, however, is less smart than others, that when you remove the kettle with the keep warm feature selected and empty that water into your cup, it tries to keep boiling air when you replace it on the stand. This is a big oversight, as all the other recognize that when you remove the kettle, you are done with it being warm and you want it to keep temperature. When you replace it, you would reselect that feature, since that is a much less common scenario than you using the water when you remove it. So I'm not sure if you understood. So imagine you have, like, say, half a liter of water on keep warm, and you come down to the kitchen to make your tea. So you've emptied the kettle, you put it back on. So the program is actually called, it's designed for that, to actually remember this setting. So even if the base, the kettle butt is away for like 3 minutes, when you put it back down, it will still remember the last setting is supposed to keep warm. So we'll complete the keep warm until, so basically what he described is objectively accurate. It will heat up even if there's no water in after you've emptied the kettle, but that's where the dry boiling protection kicked in. It was quickly discover this and then stop the heating process. So it's not an oversight, Craig. It's actually designed to second cups of tea. I mean, this is this where the personal preference comes in. Craig would prefer when you lift the kettle from the base, it basically resets everything. But that's actually carefully designed feature that's called the memory feature. So when you put it back down, it still remember the last setting. And if it were keeping warm, it will keep warm by heating things up back to the previous temperature.
I at the very least don't find this an issue, since if you do not want the keep warm, you're putting the kettle down and you just press the button, the keep warm button, so that it turns off.
Yeah, so that's why it's designed that way, because if you don't want, you can turn it off. To my defense, it's not the oversight, it's designed that way, and if you notice it, you can turn it off in time, and even if you don't, that is not an issue. So
if there's no water, it will turn itself off.
Yeah. There's more. Another downside is that I find the temperature isn't as accurate as previous kettles. I use 85 to 95 for various reasons, and this can be hit or miss. I also find this quite poor on thermal insulation, and it's very hard to touch, whereas other kettles I have had been really well insulated. On the plus side, it is a nice looking kettle, and for the voice activation, it isn't badly priced, but I have gone back to my old kettle as it was better for me. So with the temperature, I think that's that's a fair comment. So for the voice activation, yes, that's amazing job, but there are other things that he think that doesn't really serve him well. So things like the temperature precision is not as accurate as he intended to be. But then that depends on how much water you put in it. The less water you put in it, the residual heat will basically make it less accurate. So it's accurate in a sense that when you choose a temperature, the kettle will stop heating at whatever you choose to be, say 90, but then it doesn't guarantee the residual heat in the base of the kettle continues to heat up the water, making the actual resting temperature being possibly 5 degrees higher than what you want it to be. But if you put more water in it, this will be more accurate. So and that will be the case for most of other temperature controlled kettles. But notes taken. Thanks for sharing this feedback. Yeah, that's a fair one. Can't make everyone happy. So and he does provide valuable insight into what he likes and doesn't.
That's it. Bye.